Everybody thought it was just another quick celebrity interaction at the Met Gala, until people started replaying the clip frame by frame and noticing how uncomfortable the entire moment actually felt. Because when Tyla walked up to Rihanna that night, fans expected a sweet, passing the torch type of interaction. Instead, what they got was awkward silence, nervous energy, and a response from Rihanna that instantly sent social media into detective mode. And the craziest part is, fans now think this may have been building behind the scenes for nearly 2 years. The moment itself only lasted a few seconds, but online? It exploded almost immediately. Tyla approached Rihanna looking excited, cameras flashing everywhere, people crowding around them, and for a second it looked like one of those wholesome celebrity moments fans love posting online. But then Rihanna reportedly told her something along the lines of, "Nice meeting you, but I gotta go find my man," before quickly walking away. At first, some people thought nothing of it. Maybe Rihanna was exhausted. Maybe she was distracted. Maybe she genuinely needed to leave. But then Tyla later talked about the interaction herself, admitting she felt awkward afterward, and suddenly the entire internet started reading into every facial expression, every pause, and every ounce of body language. And once the clip started going viral, people began connecting it to a much bigger conversation that had already been quietly floating around online for months. Because according to fans, this was never just about one awkward interaction. This was about comparisons, the next Rihanna conversation, and whether Rihanna herself was secretly tired of hearing it. The timing made everything even messier because the Tyla moment wasn't even the only thing people were talking about that night. While social media users were already replaying the interaction over and over, another clip involving Rocky suddenly started spreading everywhere too. And honestly, this one looked even worse. In the middle of the event, Rocky was seen having a very animated conversation with an Italian creative director connected to a luxury fashion house. He was smiling, leaning in, fully engaged in the conversation, while Rihanna stood nearby watching everything unfold. Now, normally, this probably wouldn't have become a story at all. But once people already believed Rihanna looked irritated during the Tyla interaction, the Rocky clip poured gasoline onto the entire situation. Suddenly, blogs were posting headlines about trouble in paradise. Fans were dissecting Rihanna's expressions from different camera angles, and social media users started acting like they were professional relationship investigators. Every side eye became evidence. Every facial reaction became a theory, and the internet completely spiraled. But what made this whole thing even more interesting was how quickly people started bringing up older rumors that had nothing to do with the Met Gala itself. Because for a while now, some fans have believed there's been quiet tension surrounding Tyla's rise in the music industry. Not open drama, not public beef, just subtle distance. The type of thing people only notice after they start connecting patterns together. Ever since Water became a global hit, Tyla's career has been moving at lightning speed. Suddenly, she was everywhere. Fashion campaigns, magazine covers, award shows, luxury brand partnerships, viral dance trends, international interviews. And as her visibility exploded, people online started making the same comparison over and over again. She's giving Rihanna vibes. At first, it sounded harmless. Every rising artist gets compared to someone bigger. That's just how the internet works. But eventually, the comparisons became impossible to ignore. Fans started pointing out similarities in aesthetics. The cool girl energy, the fashion-forward image, the Caribbean and African crossover appeal, the effortless confidence, the dark, glossy visuals, even the interview style. And once people started calling Tyla the next Rihanna, the conversation changed completely. Because Rihanna isn't some retired legend who disappeared from the spotlight years ago. She's still one of the biggest celebrities in the world. She still dominates fashion. She still dominates beauty. She still dominates culture without even releasing music consistently anymore. That changes everything. People don't usually crown a replacement while the original person is still standing right there at the top. And some fans believe Rihanna has quietly noticed the comparisons for a long time. Again, there's no proof Rihanna has any issue with Tyla personally. But social media thrives on symbolism, patterns, and tiny moments that can be interpreted 100 different ways. And that's exactly why things escalated after Rihanna made one specific post online days later, because fans noticed something immediately. After the Met Gala chaos started trending everywhere, Rihanna uploaded a recap post from the night. At first glance, it looked normal, just another celebrity post showing moments from a major event. But then people noticed the soundtrack she chose, an Ayra Starr song, and suddenly the theories exploded all over again. Out of every artist Rihanna could have picked, fans thought it was interesting timing that she used Ayra Starr right in the middle of non-stop Tyla discourse online. Was it intentional? Nobody knows. But Rihanna has been famous for way too long not to understand how carefully people analyze her online behavior. She knows fans study every detail. She knows one tiny action can become a headline within minutes. And because Rihanna rarely posts casually without some level of awareness behind it, fans instantly started reading between the lines. Some people thought it was subtle shade. Others thought fans were reaching way too hard. But regardless of the truth, the conversation kept growing bigger. And honestly, that's when the situation stopped feeling like random celebrity gossip and started turning into a full internet narrative. Because people weren't just discussing Tyla anymore, they were discussing legacy. And that's a dangerous conversation for any rising artist to get trapped inside. Especially this early in their career. The pressure surrounding Tyla right now is honestly massive. Water became one of those songs that completely changes an artist's life overnight. It wasn't just a hit, it became a cultural moment. The kind of song that takes over clubs, social media, playlists, festivals, fashion edits, everything. But massive breakout moments also create impossible expectations. Now every move gets analyzed harder. Every interview matters more. Every outfit gets compared. Every performance gets judged differently. And once Rihanna's name became attached to the conversation, things got even more intense. Because now people weren't just asking whether Tyla was talented. They were asking whether she was becoming the next Rihanna. That's a completely different level of pressure. And honestly, some viewers think Tyla may actually be leaning into those comparisons more than people realize. Not necessarily in a malicious way, more in a strategic branding sense. Because one thing Tyla clearly understands is how viral culture works. She understands that attention is currency. And in today's entertainment industry, online conversation matters almost as much as the music itself. That's why some fans questioned why Tyla posted the Rihanna interaction clip at all. If the moment genuinely felt awkward, why upload it? Some people believe she was just sharing a funny celebrity experience. Others thought she understood exactly how much attention the clip would generate online. And if we're being honest, both things can be true at the same time. Modern celebrities know how internet narratives operate. They know fans create stories around tiny moments. They know awkward interactions spread faster than polished interviews. And Tyla has already shown signs that she understands how to keep herself inside the cultural conversation. The Chloe Bailey situation only added fuel to that perception. When Chloe posted photos with visuals that fans thought resembled Tyla's aesthetic, Tyla reposted them herself and called the vibe very Tyla-coded, which immediately triggered another wave of online debate. Some people thought it was confident branding. Others thought she was claiming influence too quickly. Then Chloe later clarified her inspiration came from completely different references, which only made the internet arguments messier. But regardless of which side people agreed with, one thing became obvious. Tyla knows people are watching her closely now, and she's learning how to move inside that attention. But there's also a very risky side to all this, because the moment audiences start focusing more on comparisons than the actual music, things can become dangerous for a rising artist. Suddenly the conversation stops being, "Do you like the songs?" and starts becoming, "Can she live up to Rihanna?" That's almost impossible, because Rihanna's career exists in a completely different category now. We're talking about someone whose music defined entire eras of pop culture. Umbrella, Diamonds, We Found Love, Stay, Work, Needed Me. Rihanna didn't just have hits. She had generational records that became attached to people's memories and emotions worldwide. And on top of that, she built billion-dollar businesses while staying culturally dominant at the exact same time. Very few artists ever reach that level, so when fans compare a newer artist to Rihanna this early, it creates expectations that can crush momentum just as quickly as they create hype. And honestly, this is where the internet becomes unfair to both women. Because some people act like Tyla isn't talented unless she beats Rihanna somehow, while others act like Rihanna is threatened anytime another young female artist starts succeeding. Both narratives are ridiculous, but social media loves competition, especially between women, especially in entertainment, and especially when there's ambiguity involved. That's why the Met Gala clips became so explosive, because nothing was fully clear. Nobody openly argued, nobody directly shaded anybody, nobody confirmed tension, which gave the internet complete freedom to invent its own storyline. And once millions of people start analyzing the same 15-second interaction, the narrative basically builds itself. Some fans became convinced Rihanna intentionally brushed Tyla off. Others believed Rihanna simply looked exhausted after hours under cameras. Some viewers thought Rocky embarrassed Rihanna during the event. Others thought people were projecting relationship drama onto completely normal behavior. And the truth is, nobody outside that room actually knows. But uncertainty is exactly what keeps celebrity stories alive online. If Rihanna had openly praised Tyla that night, the story probably dies immediately. If Rihanna publicly criticized Tyla, at least people would have clarity. Instead, what fans got was ambiguity. And ambiguity keeps the internet obsessed, especially when both people involved are massive cultural figures. What's also interesting is how differently Rihanna handles fame compared to younger artists today. Rihanna comes from an era where celebrities didn't constantly explain themselves online. They didn't jump onto Instagram Live every time rumors started spreading. They didn't post paragraphs clarifying every awkward interaction. Back then, silence was part of celebrity culture. Mystery mattered. And Rihanna still moves like that today. She rarely over-explains herself. She rarely rushes to clean up narratives. Sometimes she lets the internet argue while she says absolutely nothing. And honestly, that silence often makes situations feel even louder. Because fans start searching for hidden meaning in every tiny thing. One expression, one unfollow, one song choice, one delayed response, one awkward interaction. And suddenly the internet creates an entire storyline around it. That's exactly what happened here. Now people are convinced there are sides. Team Rihanna, Team Tyla. Even though neither artist has publicly attacked the other at all. And honestly, there's a good chance both women are far less emotionally invested in this than the internet is. But that doesn't stop the machine, because celebrity culture today runs on emotional projection. Fans want narratives, heroes, villains, passing of the torch moments, secret feuds, hidden jealousy. And when the actual reality isn't dramatic enough, the internet fills in the blanks itself. That's why this story became so huge. It wasn't really about one interaction. It was about what people think the interaction represented. Legacy, competition, youth versus experience. Old guard versus new generation. Icon versus rising star. And once audiences emotionally attach themselves to those narratives, every tiny detail starts feeling important. Even a facial expression, even a song choice, even a 5-second conversation. But honestly, the wildest part about all this is that both things can exist at once. Rihanna can be tired of non-stop comparisons while still respecting Tyla's talent. Tyla can admire Rihanna while also wanting to build her own lane. Fans can overanalyze body language while still correctly sensing awkward energy. All those things can be true simultaneously. That's why the conversation refuses to die. Because there's just enough ambiguity for every side to believe they're right. And whether intentional or not, the Met Gala only intensified everything. One event created, the awkward Tyla interaction, the Rocky controversy, the Rihanna expression memes, the era star theory, the next Rihanna debates, the branding comparisons, and another wave of internet warfare between fan bases, all within a single night. That's how fast celebrity culture moves now. One clip, one look, one viral moment. And suddenly millions of strangers are building psychological profiles around people they've never met. But underneath all the drama, one thing is still very clear. Tyla is genuinely talented. and Rihanna is genuinely untouchable when it comes to cultural legacy. Those two truths don't cancel each other out. The internet just keeps trying to force them into competition anyway? And honestly, that may be the real story here. Not jealousy, not secret beef, not hidden hatred, just the internet's obsession with turning successful women into rivals the second their worlds overlap. Because at the end of the day, nobody actually knows what Rihanna was thinking in that moment. Maybe she really was distracted. Maybe she was exhausted. Maybe she genuinely needed to find Rocky. Or maybe fans picked up on tension that wasn't supposed to become public. Either way, one tiny interaction created one of the biggest celebrity conversations online overnight. And somehow, people still can't stop replaying it.